Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Triangle Center for Spiritual Living. For those of you who may not know me, my name is Dusty Ripplemeyer, and I have the privilege and the honor and the pleasure of being the senior minister of this amazing community. We are part of a larger organization called Centers for Spiritual Living, whose vision is a world that works for everyone. Here at the Triangle Center for Spiritual Living, we provide the tools, the inspiration, the wisdom, the spiritual practices, the resources, the prayer, and the community support in order to do the necessary inner and outer work to make this vision our reality in the external world. We're very grateful that you have chosen to join us this morning. It is now my pleasure to welcome up to the podium licensed spiritual practitioner Carol Cross.
Hello, everybody. All right. Our theme for 2020 is 2020 Spiritual Vision. Our November theme is Living as Compassionate Conduits. And we have the soon-to-be Reverend Ruth Pulley speaking with us tonight, so that will be so exciting. And her title is Engagement is Where It's At. So I am now going to read this community's purpose statement, which is our reason for being together in the room and through Zoom and Facebook Live. So we are here because our purpose is to inspire, educate, and empower individuals to experience themselves as unique and individualized expressions of God, the love intelligence that governs the universe. We are committed to not merely a theoretical understanding of our oneness and unity with God, but to consciously practice this truth in our everyday lives. Through celebration, service, study, and fellowship, we are committed to the transformation of our personal lives and to being a powerful and beneficial presence on the planet. With the energy of unconditional love, simply, we are here for God. All right, so now we're going to have an opportunity to center ourselves. So close your outer eyes and just let the beautiful sounds of the crystal bowls sweep over you and bring you into your spiritual oneness.
I invite you to begin to bring your attention back into your bodies and into your rooms, and remain turned within as I speak a word of invocation upon our service. Certainly not invoking the presence of Spirit, for the presence of Spirit is always present within us and surrounding us. It is the presence of love, of joy, of peace, of creativity, and of freedom. I know that it is benevolent, everywhere at all times, an energy with no circumference and points of center everywhere. I know that I am one of those points, created by it out of itself in a moment of unconditional love. And just as I know that this is my truth, I know that it is absolutely the truth of each and every person here in the sanctuary this morning, each and every person within the sound of my voice, each and every sentient being on the planet. It is from that place of unity that I bless our time together, truly knowing that it is a divine appointment that God is having through and as each of us individually and collectively. I know that it flows with grace and ease from beginning to end. I bless all of the volunteers that have gathered here today to facilitate this service, knowing that they are bringing their highest and best to everything that they do. I bless each and every person listening, whether you are listening in this moment or listening later through the modern technology. I bless everyone, knowing that we are all the presence of unconditional love for each other, that we support each other on this spiritual path. And so for all of the blessings of this day, I am grateful. We anchor this together simply by saying, and so it is. And so it is. It is now my pleasure to welcome up to the podium licensed spiritual practitioner, Dr. Mike Murczynski.
Thank you, Reverend Dusty. Nice to be here this morning, and hope everyone is wide awake at home and enjoying the beginning of the service. So we're going to start with the blessing of all faiths, and Carol Cross will assist me. So the Triangle Center for Spiritual Living honors the diversity and threads of truth that run through all spiritual paths, as represented by this ceremony. Christianity is the path of Christ consciousness, love, and forgiveness. Buddhism is the path of compassion and understanding. Judaism is the ethical path of living by sacred law. Baha'i is the path of unity and peace. Islam is the path of submission to the will of God, the highest calling. Confucianism is the path of deliberate tradition. Taoism is the natural way, the path of ultimate reality. Native American practice and shamanic traditions are the path of primal spirituality. Shintoism is the path of tribal ancestry. Hinduism is the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. Science in mind and spirit is the path of the divine principle of love and law. And the heart represents the one heart, the one love that resides at the center of all people and all beings everywhere with no exception. And may peace prevail on earth through the followers of all paths. Thank you, Carol. The reading today is from Thich Nhat Hanh, and he says, "When you understand, you cannot help but love. To develop understanding, you have to practice looking at all things living with eyes of compassion. When you understand, you love. And when you love, you naturally act in a way that can relieve the suffering of other people. Someone who is awake, who knows, who understands, is called a Buddha. Buddha is in every one of us. And so it is." So if you close your outer eyes and turn within as I speak an invocation on this service, knowing that it is perfect, whole, and complete even as it begins, knowing that God is all there is and that I am one with God, and because this is true, I know that everyone is one with God. So from this place of knowing, I speak a blessing on soon-to-be Reverend Ruth Pulley, knowing that she is the perfect individual to present this lesson today, to deepen our understanding and expand our compassion and love. I speak a blessing on Debbie Verdun-Namo as she brings her talents and gifts of music to this service, knowing that these are expressions of her understanding, of her compassion and love that she shares with the world. And we are so grateful to have her here today. I speak a blessing on all people watching virtually, knowing that they are exactly in their right place, and that from this service, their consciousness, their understanding, and their compassion and love for every being will be expanded. So it is from this place I ask you to join me by saying, "And so it is." And I ask you to join me in welcoming Deborah Verdun-Namo.
She was walking in the street, looked up and noticed he was nameless, he was homeless. She asked him his name and told him what hers was. Gave her a story about a life with a glint in his eye and a corner of a smile. One conversation, a simple moment, the things that change us if we notice, if we look up sometime. Oh, time to share the love within you with everybody that you see. Share your spirituality. So I sing a song for the homeless. I sing a song for the doctors and the nurses waiting for the cure to come for this virus we're hoping for. This goes out to everyone. Keep on doing what you want. Share your spirituality. Just share it. She's riding in the taxi, back to the kitchen, talking to the driver about his family and his wife. Oh, on the run from a country where they put you in prison for being a woman. Oh, she looked in his eyes. One moment, one simple moment. If we look up, if we notice, sometimes I sing a song for my sisters and my brothers. Time to share your spirituality. Come on, sing. I sing a song for my sisters and my brothers. All the homeless people you sing every day. All the doctors and the nurses treating this virus. No, they can't run away. Oh, time to come on, everyone. Oh, you gotta show your spirituality. Oh, share it. Whoa, 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 whoa. I sing a song for my sisters and my brothers, all the homeless people every day, all the doctors and the nurses treating this virus. No, they can't run away. Connect with everyone you meet. Smile at people out on the street. Show your spirituality. Just share it, share it. Whoa, 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 whoa.
Thank you, Deborah. That was fabulous, fabulous. So I feel like I have a whole ream of paper here, but it's because I'm kind of on the cusp of needing reading glasses. I am so excited about our topic today, engaged spirituality. So I'm going to try to control myself in the next 2 hours. No, just teasing. In the next few minutes, just to really talk to you about what it means, this idea of engaged spirituality. So I get real excited, so I'm trying to calm down, but this is a topic that is so important to me. So I'm going to ask the folks in the room, and my dad is a minister, and so he always had my mom sit in the back, and when she got too long-winded to kind of tap her watch. So I'll trust y'all to be my watch tappers. So today's talk title is Engagement, is where it's at. So we're going to take a closer look at what it means to be engaged, and more specifically, what it means to practice engaged spirituality. So I believe this topic is more important now than ever before. More important for the well-being of our planet, more important for our community to continue to be relevant in this day and age. So now, engaged spirituality. Now, I did borrow this from Thich Nhat Hanh, so this is not my original thought, if you thought it was. But borrowed from Thich Nhat Hanh, he really introduced this understanding through engaged Buddhism. And it refers to this idea of religious and spiritual individuals who actively engage the world in order to transform it, while finding guidance in their own spiritual beliefs and practices. And so individuals who engage this understanding of engaged spirituality use support, understanding, guidance of their own spiritual practices to really galvanize their efforts for social change. And Te, which is what his followers call him, and that means teacher, he described kind of this realization, this understanding, this idea of engaged Buddhism or engaged spirituality within the context of war and social injustice, not too far from our own context. And he began to understand, him and his monastery buddies, his fellow monks, were within the four walls of their community while war and social injustice raged outside. And it was this awareness that he's like, there's a disconnect here. Here we are doing our spiritual work while the world is crumbling around us. And so it was that awareness that led him to this understanding that true spirituality has feet and it has hands. It calls us to move beyond our comfort. Maybe it called him to move beyond the comfort of his monastery and to engage the world in order to facilitate change. Now, although this language sounds new, the understanding of spirituality as a way of life is not new. I mean, we can even see this highlighted in the teachings of Jesus when he said, love your neighbor, love the folks out there the way you would love yourselves. I mean, if that's not engaged spirituality, I don't know what it is. It's go beyond the inner and transform the outer. Spirituality always equals action. Otherwise, it's just words or activities or just going to a place. Always calls us to action. Now, often when we think about spirituality or spiritual practice, we may think about an individual or group sitting in quiet meditation and reflection, trying to shake off the grime and the craziness of the world. And we speak a lot about spirituality. I know we spoke a lot in this community about spirituality is more a way of being than a way of doing. And I think that's still true, even though it may sound like this talk title is counterintuitive to that. But our understanding of being within the spiritual context should not be mistaken for inactivity. I will say that again. Our understanding of being in the spiritual practice should not be mistaken for inactivity. because spirituality in its very essence is activity. Spirituality is life itself and cannot be separated from the activity of life. It's not spirituality and life, or life and spirituality. They are one and the same, and they cannot be disconnected. And the very understanding of this fact serves as a stepping point for radical and transformative change within all aspects of our lives, not just the aspects that gather on a Sunday or a Wednesday, but all aspects of our lives. Now is the time for a shift in thinking. I know now that I'm talking, I sound kind of preachy. And this is not because I have embodied or mastered this, but I think it's just a call to action. And so now is the time for a shift in thinking, a shift in being. You know, lately for me, it just no longer seems efficient just to focus on my own inner stuff. But instead, and I don't know if you've heard it, I've been hearing it lately, this soft inner voice. And it's becoming louder and louder and louder, calling us to be co-creators in transforming the world. And the inner work is important. That's our catalyst for action in the world. Calling us to something greater, calling us to take that which we've learned inwardly and actually share it with the world. So engaged spirituality reflects a synthesis of both our inner and outer lives. It serves a tool for not only personal growth, but communal growth and global transformation. Now, according to Janet Perichin, who wrote the book entitled Engaged Spirituality, which is a fabulous book, and in this book she describes several individuals, past and present, who really have embodied this understanding of engaged spirituality, embodied this understanding of personal growth and living it externally. Individuals such as Elie Wiesel, Thich Nhat Hanh, Howard Thurman, who I love, all those people, Martin Luther King, all those people that we think about, and even our present day individuals. And she says in her book, engaged spirituality is exemplified by persons who find within their spiritual tradition the resources that nurture their being, enabling them to engage in activities that move the world toward love, toward justice, toward compassion, responsibility, and respect. It's not an either or, but a conscious, intentional commitment to engage both, challenging us to grow by leading us to expand beyond our personal, comfortable boundaries. Now that just struck me when I read that. I think I spent hours just kind of reflecting on what that means and looking at my own life and how that shows up. Now sometimes I know you, we get a little comfortable on our yoga mats. We get a little comfortable on our meditation cushions. We get a little comfortable in this peaceful bubble that we've created in our own spiritual practices. And there's nothing wrong with that. Those are fabulous ways to deepen our understanding or deepen our responsibility. But we have to understand that this is just one aspect of spirituality, just one aspect. It serves as a foundation to support us for the true action of the spiritual life, to be engaged in a way that speaks to and uplifts the divine nature that is present in all of life. Engaged spirituality becomes this perfect marriage between spirituality and social engagement or social activism or whatever you want to call it. Engagement, I like that word. It has this really deep tone to it, meaning that we allow spiritual principle to be the blueprint of our lives, calling us not only to a greater understanding of ourselves, but our role, our mandate, to ensure that our words, our actions, our deeds create a world that serves the greater good of all its inhabitants. So how can we do this? Because it's really easy to say the words, but how can we actually do this? How can we activate that which is within to actually be engaged in the world in a very meaningful way? A way that transforms, a way that creates a world that works for everyone that we speak so much about. So I'm going to discuss briefly as I can. No, briefly. Some key ingredients that I think are important for really shifting into this understanding of engaged spirituality and what that means. So number one, we must have a vision that inspires us, a desire to participate in something that connects us both to ourselves and to our higher selves. It also connects others to their higher selves. A vision greater than ourselves, a vision like world peace, social justice, equality, creating a world that works for everyone. A vision that pulls us in a direction. And a vision, I think, is different than a want. We all want world peace. But I think a vision that inspires us, that calls us to not only a deeper, richer spiritual life, but then calls us to actually engage that in the world. So a vision that inspires us. And that can be an individual vision, that can be a collective vision, that can be a community vision, such as the visions and outreach that we do here at the center, but something that calls us out. Number two, we have to have a spiritual practice, a philosophy, or belief that sustains us. Those things that we participate in that nourish our soul, that nourish us, these practices that guide and sustain us in our own journey, in our own awareness, in our own call to transformation. Kind of keeping our cups filled so that we can share with others. And those practices can be yoga, meditation, reading, walking in nature, just those things, and you know it when you do it. Those things that sustain us for this work and for this journey of transformation. Number three, we have to have a spiritual community that buoys us. Through relationship with others, we can receive support in our own spiritual journey and our own path. Gathering all the wisdom and energy, and that's the fun part about being in community. I mean, of course, there's the craziness that goes on and the laughing and the joy, but it's that collective energy, that collective wisdom, the wisdom of everyone's experience and what they bring to the table. And we can experience that. I know it looks a little different now, but we can experience that through coming together on Sundays and collectively participating in a service, to coming together on Wednesdays and collectively and being able to actually engage others in the wisdom that they have to offer and the things that we can learn from others. Number four, we have to have a commitment to others that reinforces and strengthens us. A connection with community that demonstrates compassion and interconnection. Or as Tay would say, interbeing, which I love that. I love that understanding of interbeing. And this is connection not just in a spiritual community, but connection with others. To stepping outside of our own space for a minute and practicing that compassion. And just like Tay said, when we understand, we can't help but have compassion. When we understand, we can't help but have love. When we understand, we can't help be catapulted into this active spirituality. To have mutual concern and attention for the well-being of others. And we've seen so much of this displayed and recently. And it's very important to see that the consciousness has been raised, and now's the time. And the last ingredient, well, probably not the last ingredient, but the last one I'm going to talk about. There's probably a lot more ingredients. But an attitude of gratitude that renews us. An awareness of the present moment, no matter what it looks like. And that the abundance of the universe is always available to us. We are stewards. We are stewards of the truth. We are stewards of love. We are stewards of justice. We are stewards of equality, peace, and we are stewards of collective transformation. So the incorporation of these ingredients, we'll begin to see the effects of what engaged spirituality can really look like in our lives. And how will we know? Not that spirituality is a destination, so I don't want to confuse that this is something we have to work towards, because spirituality is not a destination, but it's a journey. But I think that we'll be able to recognize when we apply these ingredients in 3 key areas of our life. Our own transformation. We're going to get shook up. And we're going to be able to see things differently as we engage more and more. And we'll see the blocks that sometimes block us from the truth. I mean, we're not working to be spiritual. All that it is, we already are. Our process is removing all the stuff that gets in the way. So we're going to see that. We're going to see a lot of breaking down of that stuff. We're going to see transformation of those around us. Have you noticed, like, when you approach a situation differently, everyone else seems to do that too? We're going to bring that energy to our little sphere of influence. And then we will see transformation in the world. It can't help but happen. It starts with us. It starts with us engaging. And transformation is the ultimate reality. So Parker Palmer, who I love, states, and I think that this is a call for us, and I think this is also a call to the importance of this and the reality of it. He says, offer yourselves to the world, your energies, your gifts, your visions, your heart, with open-hearted generosity. But understand, when you live that way, you will learn how little you know and how easy it is to fail. To grow in love and service, you, I, all of us must value ignorance as much as knowledge and failure as much as success. Because clinging to what you already know and do well is the path to an unlived life. So cultivate a beginner's mind. Walk straight into your knowing, or into your not knowing, and take the risk of failing and falling again and again, then getting up again and again to learn that the path of a life lived large in service of love, truth, and justice. So when we begin to understand and live from this awareness that spirituality is not just an inside job, we are called to step out of our comfort zones, and oh, that can be hard to do. Step outside the boxes we've created, step outside the rooms we've created, and to be willing to apply the wisdom of our own spiritual understanding to actual circumstances of our collective life. To be willing to try, fail, learn, and apply. We begin to step more fully into a life that is fully engaged, not only in our own transformation, but the transformation of others and the transformation of systems that have historically served to disenfranchise and disempower. The saying rings true. None of us are free until all of us are free. We can no longer afford to stand on the sideline. It becomes our role, both as individuals and a community, to not only know the truth, but to speak the truth and to stand for truth. It is then that we begin to understand what is meant by a world that works for everyone. And so the Centers for Spiritual Living has a global vision, has a vision of a world that works for everyone. And I want to read that, and I know we read it before, but I want to read it with different eyes. Not just as words, not just as something that would be nice for us to do, but something that is imperative that we do. Something that is our responsibility. Something that is our calling and our purpose. And the global vision says, we envision all people, all beings, and all life as expressions of God. We see a world in which every person lives in alignment with his or her highest spiritual principle, emphasizing unity with God and connection with each other. a world in which individually and collectively we are called to a higher state of consciousness and action. We envision humanity awaking to its spiritual magnificence and discovering the creative power of thought, a world where every person discovers his or her own personal power and ability to create an individual life that works within a world that works for everyone. We envision a world in which we live and grow as one global family that respects and honors the interconnectedness of all life. A world where this kinship with all life prospers and connects to the guidance of spiritual wisdom and experience. We envision a world where personal responsibility joins with social conscience in every area of the political, corporate, academic, and social sectors, providing sustainable structures to further the emerging global consciousness. We envision a world where each person has enough food, a home and a sense of belonging, a world of peace and harmony, enfranchisement and justice. We envision a world in which resources are valued, cared for, and grown, and when there is generous and continuous sharing of these resources. We envision a worldwide culture in which forgiveness, whether for errors, injustices, or debts, is the norm. We envision a world which has renewed its emphasis on beauty, nature, and love through the resurgence of creativity, art, and aesthetics. We envision a world that works for everyone and for all of creation. This is engaged spirituality. It is our calling, it is our purpose, it is our responsibility. And so it is. And just in this moment, I recognize that the energy that I felt when reading those words, that stirring within my heart, within my soul, and that expression of physical emotion, that thing is the thing itself. It is that one power and presence, whatever you call it. It's less of a name, but more of a feeling. And we know how it feels. And that it is everywhere present. There's not a place where it's not found. And so, because we can feel it, because we can see its effects, we know that we are connected to it. We know that it is the very thing that gives us breath, that animates us, that gives us thought and movement. And so from this understanding that we are so intricately connected to it, I speak a word for us now, knowing now's the time. Not only for our inner transformation, our inner awareness of that which is already within us, but our awareness of that which is already outside of us. That our connection with the people that we see and meet every day, that the beauty of the planet in which we live, that the upleveling of awareness that we have experienced are all signs of our collective understanding, this collective beauty, this collective awareness. And so that now is a time for us to breathe in that awareness and breathe it out. So we're grateful. I am grateful. As my own eyes become less and less cloudy, of the power and presence. And the awareness of our ability to engage this life. So I release these words into the universe that always says yes. I'm just waiting for more. And so it is.
So it is. Thank you, Ruth. Beautiful job. It is now time for our conscious giving. And so I just invite everyone to just take a moment to turn within, to really shine some attention on our awareness of all of the abundances that we truly have. To take a moment to be grateful for them, knowing that that attitude of gratitude really is generative, that it invites more to be grateful about into our lives, individually and collectively. I know that as we are willing to share of some of that abundance, that we powerfully step into the circulation or the flow of life, that giving and receiving are one and the same, that we can't have one without the other. I know that these gifts, however big or small, assist this community to continue to do the work that we do in the world, to continue to bring forward and provide that insight, that wisdom, those spiritual practices, that the prayers, the community support that allows us to do that inner and outer work as we co-create a world that works for everyone. And so I'm grateful for them. I invite everyone, whether you're here in the sanctuary or at home, to please repeat after me. I am grateful for all that I receive. And I am grateful for all that I may give. And so it is. Please welcome back up to the stage the awesome Debbie Verderamo.
Love is a funny thing. Whenever I give it, it comes back to me. And it's wonderful to be given with my whole heart as my heart receives your love. Oh, ain't it nice to know we love each other? And I am right beside you. I love you, you're my sister, you're my brother, and I'm your friend. When you love someone, your heartbeat beats so loud. When you love someone, your feet can't feel the ground. Shining sunshine seems to congregate around your face when you love someone. It comes back to you. And love is a funny thing. It's making my blood flow with energy. And it's like an awakened dream. That's what I've been wishing for is happening. And it's right on time. Oh, ain't it nice to know we love each other? And I am right beside you. I love you, you're my sister, you're my brother, and I'm your friend. When you love gonna give our hearts to love today. I'll lift you up, I'll help show you the way. And we'll savor every second that we spend together. You and I will. You and I will. You and I will. When you love someone, your heartbeat beats so loud. When you love someone, your feet can't feel the ground. The shining sunshine seems to congregate around your face. When you love someone, it comes back to you. Thank you.
Sweet song, Debbie. Thank you very much for sharing that. I don't think I've ever heard that song before. I have just a couple of announcements in this moment, and the first announcement is our October financial update. October total revenue was $13,758. Our total expenses were $17,355, which means our net revenue for the month was minus $3,597. So I absolutely know our abundance, and I just invite everyone to remember that we still have expenses, even though we can't be together, and just invite you to continue as you have done in the past, and will continue to do, to be really great stewards of our community. So thank you very much. The need to take care of each other through social distancing will not allow me to celebrate my absolutely favorite holiday in the same way that I have celebrated it over the last 10 years. And the way that I have celebrated it was roasting a big turkey and breaking bread with my community. So it does not mean, however, that we cannot continue to share some meaningful expression of our gratitude with each other. Please consider to join us on Thanksgiving Day, Thursday, November 26th at 10:30 for our annual Thanksgiving gratitude service. It's going to be a little bit different, well, actually quite a bit different this year than it has been in the past. There will be music and meditation and meaningful sharing. It will all be on Zoom so that we can see each other in those little Hollywood square pictures, and to interact with each other and to inspire each other in some really wonderful ways. The invitation is to please have some paper, a pen or a pencil, a candle, and some type of lighter or match available for you during this time. And we will send out a link as it gets a little bit closer to Thanksgiving Day. Now, I would love to see that thing filled with 100 different faces. That would be so awesome. So please consider joining us. 10:30 Thanksgiving morning. Speaking about the holidays, mark your calendars for our annual Christmas Eve service on Thursday, December 24th at 7 o'clock, and our annual New Year's Eve service on Thursday, December 31st at 7. Both will be filled with music, message, and magic. They will be both streamed on Facebook Live and on Zoom. So mark your calendars for those. And lastly, please mark your calendars for a very important town hall meeting on Sunday, November 29th, immediately following the service. So right about 12:15 or so, stay on Zoom if you're on Zoom, or jump over to Zoom if you're watching on Facebook Live, and join us for our town hall meeting We'll talk about our reconvening service, our finances, our plan for Sundays and Wednesdays in 2021, our leadership council, spiritual education, and our vision for our community coming forward. We would love to have again that picture of the Hollywood squares filled with just everyone who can possibly make it on that particular day. So thank you all, and as Debbie says, now is the time to bring our love forward out into the world. I love you all madly. Please welcome back to the podium licensed spiritual practitioner, Dr. Mike Morczynski.
Thank you, Reverend Dusty. Before I wrap up this service today with my duties, I wanted to take a moment to personally thank Reverend Dusty, Reverend Ruth, Debbie, Ava, and Heather, and Carol Cross for the exceptional job that was done today. The music was beautiful. The talk, the lesson was incredible. It was just, Carol, your meditation was fabulous. Ava and Heather and your work behind the scenes was incredible. Thank you very much. So before we leave, if you would like prayer, please go to the Triangle Center for Spiritual Living.org website and go on the home page, and up in the right-hand corner there'll be a little button for you to press, and you'll get a form to fill out. Please fill that out, and it will be distributed to the ministers and the practitioners so that you can receive that prayer. At the conclusion of the service, please hang around. We'll be here on Zoom. If you're watching on Zoom, just stay around. If you're on Facebook, just jump over to Zoom and hang around and say hi. So we're going to do our November affirmation. So in the comfort of your home, if you would please stand. This is a call and a response. So if we're all ready, our November affirmation. Intention is the starting point of everything that takes place in the universe. Intention is the starting point of everything that takes place in the uniform. Choice is the engine of evolution. As I consciously choose, I consciously evolve. The power of choice is one of the greatest gifts I have been given. I am committed to my own growth, to loving myself enough to be my best self. Today I choose wisely to express my authentic self in all that I do. Spirit is 100% engaged with me. It is living out its perfect life as me. I am the change I wish to see in the world, and all is well. And so it is. So please hang around. After the benediction, there will be a final video for your entertainment. And now for a last time to conclude this service, if you would please close your outer eyes again and turn within and just take a moment to kind of pause for this second or two and recognize the light that you are. And just feel that light within you. It's personal to you. And as you begin to feel that light, I'd like you to let that light grow and expand within you. And feel comfortable with that expansion. and that growth, that evolution, that change that's taking place when you see your own light. And that is the light you take out into the world. That is the light of engagement, of understanding. Because the truth of the matter is, God is all there is, and that we are all one with God. 10 simple little words. Profound. But that's what the light is. And that's where compassion, action, right acts, love, joy, gratitude, peace, and a world that works for everyone emanates from. Its start is within each of us and expands without us, outside of us. It's an inside-outside universe. But it's one filled with great love and great compassion. And I know this for all of us. And I am grateful for everyone who participated today in any way in this service, either here in person or virtually. And from my deep, heartfelt love for everyone and from my light, I love you all, and I ask you to join me by saying, and so it is.